All right, y'all, what's up? I'm Chris.
And I'm Chris, and this is Ready to Export. Yeah,
This is ready.
apparently.
Yes, let's go. Here we go, guys. Okay, so today, guys, we're talking about, this is going to be heavy tech content. So basically, we're going to talk about like Apple, WWDC, also Google I/O recap, Microsoft recap, also what Higgsfield is doing with Adobe, and maybe is it saving Adobe? Or is Adobe learning from Higgsfield on new features to integrate? We don't know, but it's definitely interesting. And then also, we're going to talk about brands going digital. Sony just talked about or released a whole new news thing about going fully digital, which I support. I think Chris disagrees.
Yeah, for sure.
But overall, let's get into it. So, Chris, we're going to talk about WWDC. And basically, Apple is basically focusing more on system performance and massive updates. I feel like Apple is just doing a refresh and a facelift of the whole brand, which I like, right? I like when brands are not always developing new products, but they're actually making sure their products work well. They're refining it. It's really, really good. How do you feel about that? Because some people always want new features.
Yeah, so at least from what I remember is that they took, like, yes, the rebrand itself is good. Like, taking it, because typically, you know, when we see Apple, we want to see new features. We want to see what they're doing next. And we did get to see some of that, but this felt fresh, like giving Siri an update. You know, that's been like one of my biggest things, man, is just like Siri itself. I'm excited about the Siri AI and making it more personable, more conversational, just adding in those features. It makes it feel more up to date, like everything else. Because it's like, I know some people really enjoy using the chat or voice only features when it comes to the LLMs like ChatGPT and Gemini, and just bringing Siri into that space and making it more consistent with what people are already using or using on a day-to-day. That's
major, right? I really enjoyed that too. So basically what they're doing with Siri is they are combining Gemini and also Siri's AI to basically perfect it. So basically Gemini is enhancing Siri. So people were saying before too, like, Gemini is going to be an iPhone, similar to what ChatGPT did with iPhone, and they did that integration there. But this is not what people were saying it was. This is basically Siri is being boosted or enhanced. And I need to stop saying it because my devices is going off all over my house. Like, because I got the HomePods and everything is going off. So I'm going to say us. So basically, it's being enhanced, right? So they created their own model, which a lot of these AI companies do out here. I would definitely say, as someone who's in the tech space, they learn from all these models. So you have, what's the Facebook model called? I forgot that one. What is that called?
I am blanking.
But they use the Facebook model. So many of these companies use these different models and then they enhance it. They either combine them to have them work together because one model does this really good, another model does A really good, another model does B really good. So what I like that Siri is being enhanced with Gemini, because Gemini is really good. I use both, right? I use Siri in the house. And then also I do have a home little touch system thing too in my bedroom. And guess why I got it? It's so vain. I only have it because it connects to the Xbox and I could tell it to turn on Xbox. Like, literally.
That's funny. So you have it to be able to turn on the Xbox?
And I never use it to turn on the Xbox.
That's funny, but like Xbox, like the controller does that for you, right? Like the controller you want to just be able to talk to, hey, turn this on to go through.
Yeah, I'm trying to like automate my home. Okay,
I don't want to touch nothing, is what you said.
Listen, but like when you're tired, like, because this is the thing, right? I don't have all of my home automation set up properly. Like I have it, so I have the Ecobee, so that's connected. That's why I chose Apple, because it was like the integration within the home products and stuff is really, really good, right? Especially if you could talk to like your speaker and tell it to change your thermostat, turn off this light, cut on this. So I was just like, there is no integration with Xbox and Microsoft, right? So therefore, I was like, I got the one with the screen, like the whatever the home kit thing is. And basically, I was like, oh, this would be pretty, pretty cool. And visually, it's good for me to have it in there. But also in my bedroom, I still have the big HomePod mini speakers in there too. So I talk to two different devices. It's so weird. It's so
Okay.
crazy. Listen, yeah, guys, I'm crazy. I know. But yeah, I got it for that. And then since now I have Gemini, I've been connecting the home thing to it. And then I connected the thermostat to it. So the thermostat's connected to either Apple or Google. It's weird. I know, but I'm a tech head. So that's why. I like
Yeah.
it. I need to get the smart bulbs and I need to get some other things, like some more plugs.
Yeah. I use Google Home, I think it's called.
Yeah.
And I have basically all my lights. I have like smart bulbs. So like my PC light, there's an LED on my TV back here that do the same thing. I can just be like, "Hey Google, TV backlight on." There you go.
Oh,
Okay, Google, TV backlight off. I'm just turn that off because try it again. Okay, Google, TV backlight off. All right, my little demonstration. So I love being able to have that stuff where it's just automated. Obviously, I can go in the phone and just turn the stuff on too without saying it. But it's just nice to have those features. And going back to Siri AI, I think it having that kind of full screen context awareness is nice too,
yeah.
because so many times where you're trying to communicate to it, like I'm gonna be honest with you, seeing Siri AI and the features that they're implementing makes me want to use Siri a bit more. I
Hmm.
haven't used Siri as much because of like previous interactions. Not saying it's bad, it's just like the stuff
It's not
that
the
you
most
needed to
advanced.
yeah, the stuff that you need it to be aware of and listen to, it's not. Then when
Yeah.
you're just having random conversations,
Yeah.
I
Right.
wasn't
Yeah.
talking to you. So
Yeah.
yeah, seeing that it's getting a rework or overhauled, having full screen context, knowing what you're
Hmm.
talking about as you're discussing with it, again, having it be more conversational and have that awareness, I think is a great feature. It just brings it up to date, more in time and more relevant to what people are actually using. So
Yeah, I agree. So speaking of up to date, we have Mac OS 27, which I'm excited for, called the Golden Gate. Some people, I was listening to a couple of podcasts and they didn't get the whole illustration of like kind of like the hippies and stuff and everything there. I loved it. I got it. Some people didn't get it at all, right? But I got it. I loved it. But Apple claims that the new Mac OS claims that the apps will launch 30% faster. AirDrop is up to 80% faster, which is major for me because I go between devices and sometimes even a work device or if I want to share something. And also, these 4K files are large, yo. Like, I was like, why? And I was trying to, which I need to make sure everything syncs with iCloud so I see everything. But sometimes even that is not the best because it takes a little while to sync up for other devices. It says also they will drop support for Intel based Macs as well. So basically, they're supporting all of their models because if you still have an Intel based Mac, I don't know why, but I think
yeah,
you need to upgrade because you're missing out on so much power, efficiency, all of that good jazz. But I understand because Macs cost a lot of money, especially with the price hike with the chips now. So everything is going up. But yeah, that's basically covers the Apple WWDC. There was more things here, but check out the show notes to see the recap. So, another thing too that was brought up during WWDC, which I love Apple, right? I love Apple marketing because they're not afraid. Like, they're not one of those brands that won't talk about another brand, right? Let me tell you this too, side note, Chris. I was looking at TV and I'm looking at the Apple commercial, right? And they have all these different Apple commercials and they showing different people using things. So this one had Chrome people like watching you standing behind you. I don't know if you've seen that commercial. Maybe I could clip it and find it. Okay. So basically it's people like in these Chrome bubble things. You know how like Missy Elliott had that I Can't Stand the Rain, like these big
yeah,
bubble suits, but they're in Chrome things and they're watching people and they're standing over you the whole time. And it didn't click until the lady says, well, this is some nice Chrome things. And then every time the person was like surfing or they used Safari, it like disappeared. They disappeared into like, confetti or whatever. So, and then it was hilarious because they were taking a jab at Google Chrome in this article saying it's always watching you. Safari doesn't do it. And that's very true because if I'm looking up everything on Chrome, I know this information is going to be syncing with Instagram, all of this stuff. And you can ask a lot of these apps to not track you, but they still
still
track
do.
you. Yeah. And that's the whole thing. So that's why sometimes I like the Apple ecosystem because they really do focus on privacy. But yeah, so let's see what Golden Gate be. I'm looking forward to the refresh or redefining the product because I like when product works seamlessly together. And I don't need a bunch of new features. I need my stuff to work good. So
Yeah.
WWDC was all about, I always butcher this word, so I'm going to say it, agentic AI. So the Gemini era. Yeah, I said that right. Here you go. I should know because I had to market that a couple of times. But Omni, I guess the high note from this one is really about Google Omni and was Gemini 3.5 Flash. And basically, the Gemini 3.5 Flash is fast, and I love using Gemini over some of the other AI tools because it gives you context. It learns how your writing style. It's not just giving you, fluff. It really helps you understand the product. And to be honest with you, Gemini is really, really good. So I'm excited for that. What we know so far about Google launched Gemini 3.5 Flash, which basically clocked at 4 times faster than the other frontier models. They also introduced Gemini Omni, which I am testing out, guys. And me and Chris are going to do on the next podcast. We're going to test out some of these models.
Yeah.
And it basically allows it to have natural languages and conversational video generation. So basically natural languages, like Chris talked about earlier. All these AI models these companies are making it easy for us to use. Basically talk like a regular conversation to the AI. And then the AI is going to do the work to give us what we want. Right, Chris?
Yeah. So again, like I think that conversation, and I use Gemini quite a bit, especially like this past week. It's been I kind of bounce around between the different LLMs, but I've been using Gemini a lot more lately. And it's been great to kind of go back and forth between the prompts as well as just having the conversation with it too. So the more conversational the stuff is, I think the better.
Yeah.
It makes it easier to use, especially if you've never jumped into these tools yet or you've yet to use them. Being able to just simply have a conversation and ask maybe some of the questions, or you're needing a bit more information and you don't know how to go about it. Gemini does a really good job of, all the LLMs do, but Gemini does a really great job of remembering the context and framing the stuff in a way that's understandable. So
Yeah, and adding more layers into it too as well. Like I love that. And Claude does the same thing too, right?
yeah,
Where it adds on more layers to the conversation. But also another big one is Gemini. Well, Google is stepping into the space of smart audio glasses. Now, mind you, I didn't want to do the meta ones. I do want to do the meta ones, but I don't really need it. But I was like, I might consider doing the Google ones. And I don't know. But basically, the smart audio glasses, Google teased a fall release of the audio-centric smart glasses built in partnership with Samsung and Warby Parker. They will feature over-the-ear speakers and a camera allowing users to tap the frame to translate signs, get directions, and summon text via Gemini. This is going to be interesting. And I want to know, like, how will it integrate with your phone or anything else? But I don't know. This one might get me. And I like Samsung and Warby on Parker. So I don't know. How do you feel about this? Would you do the Meta glasses as someone who you wear prescription glasses, right?
yeah, I wear prescription. So like this is a hot take, maybe not. I don't know. Like I'm kind of neutral on them. So
Okay.
I think if I were to do the Meta glasses, I'd want them to look a little bit more like the ones I wear on a day to day.
Yeah.
And like these are clear, right? So they have the clear frames. I'd want you to at least be able to see that the camera is recording. I think, like, I guess that's
I knew you
my
were going to go
issue.
there. I knew you were going to go
I
there.
want to. I know,
I
right?
knew you were
So
going to go there.
don't get me wrong. I think these features are great to have, to be able to record audio, to be able to record video. It's just
Yeah.
sometimes the context. And again, I guess that comes down to the individual person and their discretion
Yeah.
about how they plan to use the stuff. You know, you've even got people out here that are providing services of trying to make the recording part low profile, so you can't tell when the
Mm-hmm.
stuff is on. It's like that defeats the purpose. Like, granted, I do think when you're in public spaces or public places, you know, I think you still got to be careful regardless, because yes, while you're in public spaces, you have the right to record. Not everybody
Yeah.
wants to be filmed. Like, I think you're taking certain bits away, like where you do need to be discreet.
Yeah.
You can't tell all the time when people are trying to use this to maybe like blackmail or whatever. I'm not saying that people have like, you got to determine the intentions there when it comes to utilizing some of this stuff. But
Yep.
I'll just say this. I do think that the tech is cool. I think I'd want to just me personally, I'd let people know. It's like, hey, I am recording or I plan to record. If you don't want to be in this, I'm going to ask you to step aside or whenever, or just at least let them know. Just like when you have like calls where you're talking to customer service. Hey, this is being recorded. The conversation is being recorded both through
Mm-hmm.
video and audio. So
Yeah.
just being transparent about that. So I would say I don't have an issue with the concept or I guess these new tech accessories.
Yeah.
I would just prefer to be a little bit more transparent in my usage.
Yeah.
If that's the
I
case.
agree.
Yeah.
I strongly agree. Yeah. I think it's kind of cringe when people are not letting people know they're being recorded. And
Mhm.
me as a content creator, even when I have my camera, that's what I love about the Pocket 3 because it's small, but I'm always asking like businesses, is it okay if I record? If I come in like, hey, it's okay if I do this? Or I try to ignore that. But I will tell you this, especially with my drone, I see different people like engage with it. Majority of the time, I would say 90%. All the time I have my drone out, people are trying to get into the shot. Like
Mhm.
I'm literally trying to like keep people out the shot and they're like, hey, like I'll even
Yeah.
post up a clip of it. I'm like, yo, people are just like, they don't care. Like some people do, but I think it depends on the situation and the conversation or whatever stuff. But
Exactly.
I definitely agree with you. Like, yeah, I think so. I think on these glasses, they have that notification that
Mm.
when it records, you'll see that it's recording and stuff. And I believe Meta kind of tweaks something around that because people were
Okay.
having that conversation as well. So I
Yeah.
strongly agree with there. This
So
this is
like
definitely a
again,
good hot take.
it's not the right. So it's not the fact that I think these technologies are bad, because I genuinely think, like when you mentioned the drone or having the Pocket 3 and people see it and you make them aware of it, I do think people are genuinely intrigued by you using some of this tech. And I do
Mm-hmm.
think it has its place out in the world and its uses in different scenarios. It's just when you have people with ill intention, like nuisance streamers who plan to go out and antagonize people or antagonize the public
Yeah.
for the sake of content, that I think that's where the misuse comes into to play. Or
Yeah.
you're looking to do harm and in some cases incriminate yourself. So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
maybe that was the play all along, hey, it's like,
Yeah.
look, you out here, we know you're going to do stupid stuff. You're just further incriminating yourself or not. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's a double-edged sword. And again, I think it all comes down to the discretion of the person and their intent behind the tech that they're using, because all of it at the end of the day has the potential to be, used for good or bad. So
Yeah. So in the terms of intent, Higgsfield and Adobe has an integration. And
uh-huh.
my hot take is that I think Adobe integration, I think Adobe and all these platforms that allow these integrations are learning from the tools and learning if people are using them to figure out how can they adopt those own native tools in their own their tech stack. So basically, this plugin is fire from what I've seen, right?
Yeah.
The promo video, I think it's definitely good, especially now. I haven't tested out Hixel yet, but I have been using Omni and also VO2 or 3, one of
Three.
those.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, 3. I've been using like the Gemini stuff and a lot of the Omni, like within Google's, I believe it's called Studio Flow, Google Flow, is really, really good. Like it can remove background stuff. It can do a lot of things, right? Put text behind there, masking features, all that good jazz. So apparently with this new Adobe integration, you can do direct AI video generation directly inside of Premiere and also After Effects. And the ultimate goal is to save on steps. Chris, as a video editor, you have to jump between different type of tools and then you got to render in this one and then you have to bring it over. So now this one is giving a native integration, rendering from the web app and then re-importing, and then creators can now run high-end AI inference right from basically high designs basically directly into the Adobe app, into the timelines and canvases. And then the top features are direct AI video generation, draw to edit, and in painting, which is really, really dope because what they were doing basically is they have a bunch of people in the scene, which we already did like that magic, what is it called? It was called like magic erase or
Um,
something from Google. So they basically
yeah.
integrate that in there. and then tracking and reframing angles. That I think is the most people, designers who are against AI, I think they should be open to some things because the tracking and reframing, it will save you so much time if the
Yeah.
AI is doing it, right?
Right. So I'll
And
say
then,
with that particular feature, that was one that actually intrigued me the most was
yeah.
because you think about most editors or you're doing social cuts of stuff,
Oh,
you get footage back that was only filmed 16:9 or it may have been filmed 9:16. And one of my things is like I want all cameras for the most part now to just be open gate. It's like let's just
yeah.
make them open gate so you can figure out what the cut is later on. You know, you do
Hmm.
the resizing or the reframing in post. So having these kind of features to be able to, I guess what like basically change the aspect ratio kind of on the fly and reframe it to the specific cut that you need. I think that's a game changer. Like
That is a game
if it's
changer.
working as intended, that's a game changer. Being able to go from it's like, okay, we know this is going to be the stuff was shot 16:9, and we know that we need to reframe it all as a social cut. So
Yeah.
your 4x5 or your 9x16, being able to do that easily and seamlessly, like I that's a feature I really care about.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. And then they also have other pro video tools. So basically, making it easy to do rotoscoping, which was hard before. Apple just dropped some stuff out yesterday as well too on July 2nd with Final Cut with Automess. So that was very interesting too. And then basically, AI can basically transition generational content clips. Basically, I've been intrigued by those AI transitions that people could do in Hicksville, which was
Mm,
very interesting. It was nice. I seen a bunch of creatives doing that. But basically, keeping editors in mind. But also, guys, just to let you know, these AI models use tokens or they use credits. So, depending on how vast or big your edit is, you can eat up some credits really, really fast.
yeah.
But I think the game changer for me, Chris, like you said, is the tracking and reframing. And also kind of like removing people,
Yeah.
because we talk about like privacy and all that other stuff, right? And when you're recording content, imagine like recording people who didn't want to be in the scene and then maybe they said something crazy right in there and you could just take them out, right? And AI could just take that whole scene out, erase them out. I think that's a game changer. So this is where I am a pro person for the AI tools that would just help you speed up workflows, right? I'm not
Right.
a real crazy person about a lot of the video editing and stuff because you see those AI videos all the time. Like I've been seeing commercials, AI videos. I was looking at it and I was like, that's an AI video. I don't want to look at it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just not interested.
Right. I would
But I
say like
think that this one is good.
yeah, I was gonna say I think that the being mindful of especially when it comes to the generation stuff itself. Like so for instance, the direct AI to video generation or image generation stuff, being able to create stock clips.
Yeah.
It's not bad. I'm just saying don't make that the main focus. Or at least
Yeah,
in my
overdoing
opinion,
it.
I don't think yeah, exactly. Use it as a B-roll clip for a couple frames or a second or two to emphasize a point. I think
Mhm.
it can help emphasize whatever it is that you're talking about or enhance a bit of the edit as you're generating something. Maybe you need a flyover of a particular city, or maybe you need a chef in a kitchen or something, or a close up where they're sauteing something in a pan as B-roll.
Mhm.
Yes, most certainly shoot it if you know you have the capability to be able to do so. But using that as quick B-roll, I think is useful. And as you said, the in paint, the draw to edit features, I think are nice where you need to adjust something such as, hey, this person's shirt. We actually need them in a black shirt as opposed to this blue.
No,
Let's
I'm
put them in
against
a
that
black shirt.
part, but he's for that. What what if that was my favorite shirt?
Oh, man.
It's like, no,
So,
I like it. I like it. I definitely think the AI tools are going to be if they create AI tools to really help us with workflows and a more or less than the content creation part. Like I think it's interesting. I like how Google does their videos when I see their promos. Like I think they were at Canes and right, and I seen like a beach video that was AI generated. I'm cool with that, right? But I'm
mhm,
not cool with if it goes from you recording some content at a coffee shop and then it goes into you eating artificial pizza. Like, I don't want to see that. Or I don't even want to see
Yeah.
artificial food content, because you see a lot of that stuff out there too as well. Because I
Right.
think people go off of emotions, right? People buy off of emotions for the most part, especially when you're dining and you're lounging and you're creating some of these scenes. So there needs to be realistic concepts that are in there. But and I'm against tweaking all of this stuff too, because I think sometimes we go into this perfectionist thing, and which I love about where cinema is, or some of the storytelling even been on Netflix. I hate to say this, somebody's gonna probably kill me, but I like when Tyler Perry and there was another one, and they had those big old text on the video, right?
Mm.
Frame, and it's like, what the heck? Who designed this? But I just like that somebody was just like, we don't care about making, the text in a certain size format. We're going to make the whole title big and the whole screen.
Yeah. So
And it's just there. Like, I think imperfections is still something, even as a singer. Like, you want to hear, you like the person with the raspy voice. The clear voice is perfect, it's good. But you want to hear a little grit sometimes. You want to hear that, sometimes, like, even in the church world, and you hear that little perfection of somebody maybe didn't scale and hit that note all the way where it is. And it just feels authentic, right?
right.
Like,
I
I
think
think
that's
that's the
because
thing.
it's the human intent behind it. There's still that human element to where you're able to connect to it. Like you're saying, with you don't want to see food content that's AI generated, especially if the idea is like the food is the hero element. And I think that's
Yep.
where we got to get back to is what is the intent behind what it is that you're doing.
Yeah.
Fine, you want to make enhancements or adjustments, but that's exactly what they should be, just small enhancements or adjustments to particular things,
Yeah.
and be okay with some of the imperfections and the stuff that you're creating as well. So like, for instance,
Hmm.
if it's going to be a piece about where you're documenting food, you probably should make sure that you're actually documenting the food and not
Hmm.
just generating all of these dishes and it's all AI generated. No, go
Hmm.
actually go talk to actual chefs and film it being prepared. So that's where I think it gets iffy, is when you're making the AI stuff the hero element, or it's the main focus, is where
Yeah,
it kind of turns people off.
I
Not so
agree.
much, you needed to rotoscope something and you utilize AI tools, or that it fixed this a bit of audio. Maybe there was, because some of the stuff has existed for a while now, where you have like audio cleanup tools, to kind of take
Lifesaver.
out, yeah, like background noise, or you recorded on your phone, but you need it to sound more like in studio. So
Yeah.
I think the tools are great. Just remember that they're tools. Don't make the, don't make them an excuse to create hero content, or the content that you yourself should be creating
Look at that. That's
authentically.
gems from Chris, y'all. He is dropping it. He's dropping it on y'all, right? Exactly. All right. So our next episode, we need to get into the tools, right? And we need to test them out, right, Chris? Let's do like a live session, like, just testing out, seeing if the AI, or seeing basically if Higgsfield is really, I guess basically, is it truth behind it, right? Is it really
Yeah.
real? Is an actual use
How
case for
useful
this,
is it?
which I
Yeah.
believe it is. And then one hot take before we go. This was a very interesting story. Chris and I was talking as we were preparing for the show. And we were talking about brands going digital, and he was having a fit, guys, because he is not happy about this whole Sony announcement, about Sony announcing that they will cease to producing physical game discs for consoles starting in January 2028. Now, I don't have a problem with it, because I know you can own the digital copies, but Chris do. And Chris, tell us, like, why are you against this?
So like, my issue is, like, don't get me wrong, I love having both. Like, I pretty much game on Steam at this point. So all my stuff
He's the
is
problem,
digital.
guys. That's all of y'all that's doing the Steam games. They're the problem. They
All
talk
my
about this
stuff is
all the
digital,
time.
right? So like, I have a PS4 sitting down here, now granted, I have all the physical discs there. I got Blu-rays and all of that. My issue is that it's almost being decided for you. I don't think people have an issue purchasing physical or digital media, or purchasing digital media mainly. It's when you feel like the stuff is being stripped away from you, or you have no choice. That's my issue. So for instance, maybe you've bought a season of Seinfeld, or maybe you had Everybody Hates Chris. You brought it from the PlayStation Store, and you got all
Mm-hmm.
the seasons, and you've already watched it through so many times, and then the next time you go on to go to watch it, the media is no longer there because Sony lost the license, or they just no longer have it in the store.
Yeah.
Be it could be a TV show, movie, your games. If they no longer support it or are no longer going to host it on their servers and they take it away, you just spent money on stuff that you can't get a refund for or you can't get back. And
Yeah.
again, maybe that is to argue, it's like, hey, it's in terms of service, but you would think it's like, okay, I'm purchasing something to be able to own and watch on my own time. I would still like access to it. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's most people's issue, is that with the physical media, like, hey, yes, it's a licensed copy. The only thing I'm not supposed to do is go distribute and make copies of this and sell it. Now again,
Right.
I'm not even going to talk about that because, there's bootlegs and yeah. So, but with the physical copy, you still are able to own it, and hey, you can watch that as many times over as you want, and you still have access to it, even if it's long gone, right? Or if a platform isn't hosting it, you still have the physical copy you can go back to, whether it's VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, a CD, so or the stuff stuck on an old iPod. Like, don't get me wrong, those are digital like files, MP3s, but
Yeah.
they're still there. When you have them on a platform or a service like Spotify or whatever, if the artist decides, hey, I'm moving my stuff off this platform, or maybe they violated the terms of service or whatever the case may be, it's removed. You don't have it. And so I guess that would be my issue, is that not so much that it's digital, it's that it can be taken away at any point in time, especially if you're locked into a system like Sony or Nintendo. Don't get me wrong, their games are great. I like Sony and Nintendo, but
Mm-hmm.
when you don't have a say, or it feels like you don't have a say in the media that you're purchasing, and you're trying to do it the right way, and they can just get rid of it at any point in time, what do you actually own? Like, so your system, right? I don't know what the new systems are going to be, but with PS6 may be out by 2028. I don't know. They may make an announcement, but if they're going all digital and there's no physical disc that you can purchase, if they stop supporting it, then you just have this electronic device that, heck, I mean, I don't know. You're just streaming stuff too, I guess. And are people okay with that? I think most people, at least from what I've seen, they aren't okay with that. So that's my take on it. I'm just not a fan. Don't get me wrong, and I still buy games digitally. That's just what it is. I don't want the clutter. I don't want to have like thousands of hard copies of stuff. But now I'm feeling like maybe that's the way I do need to go. So I don't know.
Or the way that you're going to be forced to go, and you're just going to have to deal with it until you start your own gaming company.
Right. It's like, hey, look, starting a game company today. We are doing physical media. I don't care what anyone says. I
Right.
don't know. Right.
All right, guys. Well, we appreciate y'all. Thanks for checking out the show. The next show, it'll be a little bit more interactive, and we want to test out some AI tools. And then we'll be talking about like branding, all that good stuff. But if you haven't checked out any of the ISOs or WWDCs and all that stuff recaps, we'll drop that into the show notes. And we are out. Have a very productive week, and we'll see y'all in the next one.
Later.
See ya.